all so deeply interconnected. And I need people to hear it is not just clothes. It never has been. It never will be. It's a much deeper conversation. And if someone is not using this as their daily empowering ritual to show up in their life like they want to, then they are missing a trick.
Have you ever wanted to step out of the box, try something creative with your wardrobe, and go a different route than you've been going? Also a deeper question, do you ever think about why you haven't yet? Is it because you don't have the tools and how to do it? Or is it because you're afraid of what people will think? This week, we're talking to Sarah Duff, who on social media is called the Holistic Personal Stylist, is an incredible stylist that really shows her community how to really jazz up their outfits, be creative, think outside of the box in the clothing that they have in their closet. But beyond that, deeper than that, there is the whole conversation about why we don't do it to begin with. Why do we conform to what everybody tells us that we're supposed to do? That's a big one for me, because when I decided to actually embrace what made sense to me, it was almost as though it was a signal to change everything in my life because I was projecting it outwardly. So this is going to be a fun conversation. She is an expert in her field and I know well loved. So let's get to it. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on today. How are you?
I am extremely good. We are in a bit of a heat wave in the middle of the UK right now. We don't have air conditioning, so life is...
Oh, no.
Well, this country is not set up for very high temperatures. So
I live in Florida, and it's been insane lately, but at least we have air conditioning. Goodness.
Yeah, I know. We don't have this. So yes, life is great, but it's just quite hot right now.
Well, I have to say, this new podcast that I'm now working on, which is all about women and empowerment and really going for things. Most people know me from the beauty industry, so I feel like I would be remiss if I did not bring on somebody that really represents what I believe in, that's for sure. And that is, beauty really can, and expressing yourself, whether it be your clothing, your makeup, your hair, whatever it may be, can really empower you, embolden you, and really, I kind of mentioned whimsy to you, but I feel as though, I often thought in my past that my clothing was functional. And now it's become, I'm wearing a cute dress. Yeah. I'm just as comfortable in this as I am in shorts.
I mean, and this is the thing, I think quite often from women that I have worked with as a stylist, there's often this narrative around it's easier to just be practical. I just need to be practical. But actually, when we start to scratch the surface of that, there is a lot more going on. And a lot of it comes down to, a couple of things. Maybe not really understanding how to connect to some kind of personal style and what do they think personal style is. But possibly a bigger one, and one that is quite often more hidden until somebody holds up a mirror, is a fear of visibility and a fear of being truly seen and expressed, because that feels scary to a lot of us because of, stuff that we went through in childhood and, these things, these stories that we've built up in our subconscious and all of that. And, we try to keep ourselves safe by masking it by saying, oh no, I'm fine just wearing the gym outfits every day. It's just easy. But actually, deep down, I don't want to talk for everybody in the world, like all women, but I would say a high majority would say that actually deep down, they would love to feel absolutely fabulous in their outfits and feel fully expressed, because it does make such a big difference to how you show up in your life, to everything that you go to,
Hey, I want to thank you all for being here. It has been so exciting creating this podcast of incredible women with great stories and lessons that we can all grow from. I just wanted to ask if you haven't subscribed already, I would really love it if you could do so now. And also like the video because, that helps as well. I really want to spread the word out and get it out there, but I need all of that interaction. You know how it goes with YouTube in order to get that done. So if you could do that for me, that would mean the world to me. And I'm not going to go any further. Let's get back to the interview. I know a lot of people will sometimes frame beauty as something that is a very vain or
Yeah,
like, oh, it's not important. But ultimately it is in a form of expression. It's a form of declaring that you take up space, that you are here. And not only are you here, but you are not necessarily conforming to what that beauty standard is. You are
absolutely.
coming, showing up authentically of yourself, which I'm telling you, one of my goals is to change the definition of the beauty standard, which would be more individualized and yes, less about what corporations need you to buy into.
Yeah. 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 I mean, amen to that, because corporations want us all to be some variation of a Stepford wife in some kind of way, all just kind of looking the same, marching all to the same beat of the drum. That's not how you say that, but basically, just all doing the same thing to conform, to play small, you know.
Definitely.
And that's
So,
not what.
did you have a moment in your life, like in your personal experience, like when you first started to decide, hey, I need to really express myself? I mean, was there a point where you were like, I'm showing up in gym shorts, or were you always someone that like, I love playing with this. That's just how I express myself?
Oh, goodness. So I have been through many different chapters of life. So when I was, if we go right the way back, when I was kind of young, teenage, I was very into style, fashion. I used to draw, I design outfits and have them made and all of this kind of stuff. And then, as I became more aware of myself, I would say, and became more aware of the opinions of other people, I kind of began to lose a little bit of that because, like I said previously, the fears began to build up, as we do. And as we get older, we become, I guess, we care more about what other people think. Well, or we're just more aware of it and we're aware of like what the consequences might be, being judged, all of that kind of stuff. And then when I left uni, I went straight into a job as cabin crew, so flight attendant. And that was basically I wore a uniform to work. And I was cabin crew for 12 and a half years. And of course, I had a life outside. I wasn't just flying constantly around the world for 12 and a half years. But that whole kind of time, I was so concerned with not standing out too much or being too different to the other people around me that I was just kind of following and doing what everyone else was. And then after leaving that, I trained as a personal trainer. And so I entered into yet another industry with not so much a uniform, but definitely a way that you would dress, which was obviously gym gear.
I
And
was in
then
that
yeah,
industry for a good 20 years.
yeah. And it becomes part of your identity. And there is nothing wrong with that. But we as women, we as people, we as humans, we are not this one identity. There we have so many different parts of us inside. But what happens is that when we are into this kind of conforming and wearing of, what everyone else is doing to fit into whatever it is, the identity of the industry that you are in, those parts of us, whether they be the quirky part, the cool part, that whatever it is for you, they get buried deeper and deeper and deeper down. But there does come a point where I believe for most of us, we start to feel so disconnected and dissatisfied with, like there is a disconnection, like there is something missing. And I was in the fitness industry for, I don't really know, probably about 10 years. And I kind of, that part of my life, I went through the fitness era. Then I was moved more into like the coaching space. So then I started to dress as I thought a life coach should dress. So I was wearing all of the, the flowy dresses and all of the things. And it was like, yeah, okay, these are perfectly fine outfits, but there was always a dissatisfaction. I was like, this doesn't feel right. And occasionally I would put something on that was probably a bit more random and a bit more out there. And I would think, oh, that's interesting. This feels a bit more me. But then I would the next day put something else on and be like, oh no, well, here we are. We're back to where we are. And I didn't take any time to pause at that point to really consider what was going on or to make the connection. Actually, in my DNA, I am someone who, from a very early age, loved style, loved dressing up, loved fashion. And all of that had been buried so, so deeply. And so I would say during the pandemic, I started to really start digging into doing the deeper inner work, doing the healing work, starting to weed through all of the stuff that was going on inside of me. And let me tell you, there was a lot.
Mm.
And so when we kind of moved out of the pandemic, I had changed somewhat, but I still was dressing just in these like fine outfits. But I could feel myself realizing that I wanted more for myself in this area. And I look back at the photos and I'm like, yeah, I was really trying. I was really, trying to be different to what I had been, to not wear the uniform, but the things still weren't really landing like they do today. But I think we all have to go through this kind of period of making the decision that we want something different and then starting to experiment maybe in the smallest of ways to really start the path forward to where we maybe eventually will end up and where I have kind of ended up. So actually the thing that really made everything click for me was I ended up getting a part-time job in a vintage shop in Portobello Market here in London. And there was something about walking back into that environment that I was like, oh, okay, something has woken up inside of me here. Like it was like, oh, good Lord. Okay, fine. And so that environment in itself gave me a kind of permission slip to just start being more experimental. And the experiments, I would say, looking back at them now, I am so proud of myself for stepping into starting to wear the more, so quote unquote daring things and to really push my comfort zone on the outfits that I was choosing to wear. And that was knee deep in the experimental phase with no real style knowledge and no style skills at that point. But the desire and the experimental side of me had woken up. And so I always quote this day that I put a dress on and I also was like, this needs something else. So I then just threw a baseball cap on and I was like, what just happened here? And I was like, there was this like full body. Yes, there was this full body. Can I swear on this?
Oh, yeah, sure. What the hell?
Okay, so I won't swear. I won't swear a lot. So this is relevant to this whole thing. So that feeling that I felt was my intuition saying, yes,
Yes.
this is aligned with you. This is you. And I have kind of called that the fuck yeah feeling. And the fuck yeah feeling is when your intuition is screaming, this is for you. This is right. Listen to me. Like, I don't care how scary it might feel to start doing things a bit differently. And ultimately, my whole mission is to help women get to the point where they have that feeling, because that feeling then translates into them showing up into their lives and showing up how they need to, how they want to, and taking the aligned action that they need to take. And I work specifically with women who are looking to build a business and need to build a brand and get brand awareness out there, and also women looking for relationships. So both of those things require you to show up authentically, consistently, be visible, be seen as yourself.
Yeah, our job
And
is not to conform
yeah,
ourselves
it's
to
not.
attract someone. Our
Exactly.
is
It's
to
to
be
show it. Yeah,
ourselves.
it's to be yourself. And so that feeling, that fuck yeah feeling, is the feeling that then you use as a guide to create this whole fuck yeah life.
Mm.
So it's all so deeply interconnected. And I need people to hear it is not just clothes. It never has been. It never will be. It's a much deeper, deeper conversation. And if someone is not using this as their daily empowering ritual to show up in their life like they want to, then they are missing a trick, you
I
know?
have to say, so much of what you're saying is resonating with me right now. It's not even funny because I had to do a lot of public appearance type stuff, and I was keeping myself in this little box of, I wore, a colored, shirt and whatnot because I knew that's what the camera picked up on, and I kept myself very, but I always was like that. I just wanted to blend in. I really didn't ask to be in
Yeah.
front of media. They just said, "Oh, you could talk," um, but I normally I'm actually technically introverted. I come across I play an extrovert on TV, but on in a personal level, I'm very shy. And when I go into a place, I want to blend in with the background.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until one day I had an event that I had to do. It was on a red carpet in Hollywood, which
Hang on a minute, just not just an event. It's
it
like
was it was
the
actually
event.
it was a it's almost like the feeling of the Academy Awards, but it wasn't. It was for, hair and makeup. It was I think a week before the Golden Globes, and it was in the same exact like, they had it set up for the Golden Globes, but you're doing it there,
Yeah,
and there were a lot of celebrities there because they're supporting the industry because this is all for movies, television, all that stuff.
yeah.
So, our company was sponsoring it, and they said, "You're gonna go this, you're gonna be representing the company, you're gonna go on the red carpet," and I'm just sitting there like, so I'm
What is
like, "I guess I
happening?
gotta get a dress," because like, I don't get fancy dresses. That's just not who I was. And I remember picking something out that was very safe. It looked like something I would wear to a dress up church affair.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
look bad in it, but there was nothing to it. And my friend said, "You're going to be walking around." Who was there?
Oh, this is so fun.
There was a few celebrities, but there was someone that was actually nominated for an Oscar there, and I can't what Angela Bassett.
Ah,
And she was being honored that night.
fabulous.
And I remember thinking like, and this is like, oh my gosh, this is like something from my childhood, like dreams. Isn't this exciting?
Yeah.
But like felt wholly incompetent for this. So I remember finally going, screw it. I'm going to get like, this could only happen once in my life. I'm going to have fun. And I chose this dress that was so trendy at the time and had all these see-through panels, which, oh my gosh, the see-through panel, like something that like, I had to have sticky bra things on and, I had to be like rigged into it and everything. But I felt so glamorous. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, this feels good.
Ah,
This
I love that.
and there's this part of us as women where we like, because I'm a single mom, everything is towards them, towards them, towards them. And you sit there and you feel a little bit of guilt that like you are just luxuriating in it. But for that moment and that day, like Cinderella, I decided that I was going to marinate in this.
Oh, I love that. Marinate. What a good word.
I wanted to and I remember entering in the room and just feeling as though I decided to pull all the energy towards me and just hold it there and just live in that moment. And I remember people coming up and going, "You're just stunning." And I'm
Ah,
like, Thank you. I'm all geeky and
I
everything.
know. Thank you.
But
Here's my
but
energy.
there is I just remember that being a pivotal moment, not just because it was like a glamorous thing,
Yeah.
but it was because in that moment I realized that I didn't want to conform. I wanted to, because that's what it was. I always wanted to blend into the background, and I was being forced to not, and being forced to be photographed and be and I needed to show up as how I wanted to be seen.
Yeah.
And if I chose the nothing against a cute church dress, but if I showed up that way, is that really showing up as me? And it wasn't. I'm a little bit more out there. I've
Yeah.
come to have a great appreciation for hats. Let me tell you, that hat is adorable.
These hats are basically, they are my personality right now.
And
Just wearing them. They're just on my Instagram. I've got literally
But
nothing.
I had heard something you had said on an Instagram post not long ago. And if you're not following her, please do, because it's really great information, and it's just so empowering. You were mentioning something about women that are choosing to try something new. It's scary. Sometimes you were saying something about like trying something and then the next day you didn't. I understood what you were talking about in that Instagram where you said, you decide, hey, I want to try wearing this outrageous necklace or say, big bulky thing or
Yeah.
something. And you get to the door and then you're like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
because you knew it would stand out and
yeah.
you would get attention. And it's about what a lot of us want to make ourselves small and just kind of blend in.
Yeah, there's this kind of pull, push, push, pull, pull, push thing that I see a lot with women, in that there is this part of them that is like, I want to be seen. I need to be seen. Like, I'm here to be seen. And then there is this other part of them, generally the part of the subconscious mind, which is like, nah, that's not safe. We're not doing that. And really, until we become aware of that and then start to do some of that deconditioning work around changing that narrative that we have, then we will just continue to do that exact thing of trying the, statement necklace on and then talking ourselves out of it, because we have no tolerance for stepping into something where we are going to be, more visible and possibly have someone not even negatively comment. We're not comfortable being seen. And what you were saying about when you were on the red carpet, there is also like an energetic thing that happens, that when you are wearing something that is completely aligned with who you are giving off a very different energy to
Yes.
if you'd have gone in the church dress, you would have, your whole energy, your demeanor, the whole thing would have been completely different. And you would have probably had kind of not repelled people as in like, ugh, but you wouldn't have attracted those people towards you, because you wouldn't have been magnetic, because you weren't wearing your aligned style,
Right.
so it's so, like, it's crazy the impact that it can have. And I just really want all women, whatever they want for themselves in their life, to realize that they have this really empowering thing that they can. Style is a skill that you can learn. It's not a birth thing. It's not, you are either born with great style or you are not. It is something that you can learn and develop and will evolve with you over time if you allow it to. And I think many women get stuck in what I call their style past,
Yeah.
in that you get to a point, and from that point onwards, whether it's motherhood or a change in career or something locks you in at a certain period in your life. And again, it doesn't happen by accident that you move out of that. You have to be intentional, and it does take effort. And
And
like, anyone that's
bravery.
saying effortless style, or, finding your personal style is, easy peasy, it takes effort, it takes intention, and it often takes guidance for people because they don't even really know where to start, you know?
And definitely a sense of commitment to it in the sense of
Getting it wrong.
I talked myself out of the outfit 100 times before that date.
Yes. Yeah.
I tried to talk myself out. I was dressed and ready to go, and I was still like, "What am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm a 50 some odd year old woman doing this. What am I doing?" And then, like I said, it is that click in your head where you're going, "Okay, I'm not going to do yet another event where I'm sitting here tugging out a dress, trying trying to express myself and then asking like, for forgiveness for doing that."
Yeah.
Like there
Yeah.
comes to a point where, no, I'm going to go to this. I'm going to own who I am and how I look right now. And I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm
Yes.
going to marinate it. And if anybody says boo, I don't care. I feel so good right now. So
No.
I think that is an incredible empowering thing, and it has a trickle effect in the rest of your life no matter how you try to spin it. We can sit there and say it's vain. I'm sorry, it affects everything.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
feel since doing the social media and like building this community, do you feel like there's anything you see amongst them that's like exciting you, that like the things are clicking for them?
So I think within my Instagram community, the majority of them, I would say, are women who are in this phase of experimenting. Like they have given themselves some level of permission to be able to start experimenting. And it is very exciting to see that this whole narrative around, you're too old to wear this, stop wearing this because you're this age, or all of that nonsense that's been floating around is we are really pushing back us women who are actually in this. Like I'm in my late 40s, women that I communicate with on my social media, 50s, 60s, 70s, we're all pushing back against this and rebelling and saying, actually, no, if something, the only reason to ever stop wearing something is because you don't love it anymore. End of, full stop. That is it. And I know there are still pockets of the internet that there are stylists who people then obviously see as experts and people that they should listen to, who are still playing into this narrative. Like, the best skirts for a 40-year-old to wear. What does that even mean? Which 40-year-old are you talking to? Because
Right.
style is so individual. Like,
Yeah.
why are you making, like, it drives me a little bit bananas. But yes, back to the question, which was my Instagram community. Yes, it excites me to see that women are out there and pushing their own boundaries, I think that's
So
great.
it's funny because one of the questions I have for you is, do you feel that you're a rule breaker or a rule maker or a little bit of both? Because you do have style rules, which I appreciate because sometimes you're just intuitively doing it and you're like, for some reason it's not working. I don't know why it's not working, but it's
Yeah.
not working. And then to have someone say, have you played with this? Have you played with
Yeah.
that? Um, you can go, oh, okay, let me try it a little bit different instead of giving up on it. But in the same breath, I feel like you're a rule breaker
Oh, I don't,
because
yeah, I
you're
push back against it all. Like I see people as individuals. I see people's personal style as individuals. So when somebody works with me, we're not talking about, okay, so you are an apple shaped body or you are this body. We are, okay, here we are. What are the silhouettes that you are going to actually fall in love with? Like, what we need to play with this and see, rather than saying to women, okay, you fit into this box, so therefore you must only wear tops that look like this and skirts that look like that. No, absolutely not. Because again, it plays into this thing of trying to make us all conform. And
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff around the body rules has been created by the traditional sense of what is flattering, which is the hourglass figure. Not all of us want to have that. Not all of us feel like that feels like us. Like I very rarely wear things like I don't wear tight things because they don't feel right for me. I love oversized clothes, and flattering is not something I'm ever trying to do. All I'm ever trying to do for me, and helping my clients to do, is to identify the feeling of what is right, and that takes experimentation. So
Yeah.
it's about, there are lots of rules out there, and I'm always like, let's not see them as rules, let's see them as things that you can try, and if they work for you, great, keep them, use them, amazing. But also, they there nothing is black and white, everything is nuanced, and things could not be more nuanced than when it comes to like personal style and knowing what to wear. And I think as humans, we want there to be a black and white, we want there to be a cookie cutter, but anyone that is living their life dressing through the lens of cookie cutter and just doing what everyone else is doing, I'm going to put my head on the line here and say that they are not feeling as amazing as they could in their outfits, because what they are wearing is not personal style. It's a replica of somebody else's
Yeah.
perception, or maybe their style of what other people should be wearing. And so we have to always bring it back to the individual, you know?
I actually am a big fan of wearing things that some people would deem as inappropriate for the occasion.
Some people.
I always say, dress for an occasion and the occasion will find you. But
Yes, I love that.
like I love thrifting personally, and I found this ballroom gown like skirt. Just a skirt. And I decided to pair it with a t-shirt, put a few like big bobbly things on me, and I was like, let's go to Walmart.
I love it. But I
And
mean,
yes, I was definitely seen. And I wore big clunky boots with it and everything. And I was having fun with it, and my hair was all spiked up and it looked like I had a mohawk. And, people were like, oh my gosh, like looking at you just makes me smile. Like, and you're going to be seen, but there's a joy in that. Like, you're having a joy in being creative. I think of some of the storybooks as a child,
yeah.
that have like the little girl that dresses up in all the, what did they call it? Fancy Nancy or something like that. There was a series of
Oh
this
my
little
God,
girl that
there
dresses
were
up.
so many. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember all of the kids, because kids are the best. They just love
Yeah.
them.
So I'm like, I think at this point, I don't want to go on with my life thinking to myself, you know, oh, I really wanted to wear that dress, but I just kept on wearing, the oversized t-shirt and the yoga pants.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Do you know how mad your 99-year-old or 100-year-old self would be if they look
Mhm.
back on the life and they're just like, oh, so this is what we did. We
And
decided
there's
to
nothing
continue.
wrong
No,
with
there's
dressing
not.
that way, but in the
If it
same
makes you
breath,
feel how you want to feel.
right, if you feel like, "Oh, I would have had fun wearing that. I would have had fun wearing the ballroom skirt and the t-shirt going to the
Yeah.
the Walmart." And I did. And I think of all the times where I could have done it and I made people smile.
Yeah.
Hey, even
Yeah.
better. But yeah, I feel like that's a big one. Let's say there is somebody listening right now and they're going, I want to be more daring, but
Mm.
I don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
What would be the one thing that they could take away? Do it today. That would be that, maybe that baby step or that gate opener, that thing that is going to start them on the journey of really deciding to create personal style for themselves.
Yeah. So I would say go to your wardrobe/closet right now, have a look inside, and pick out the thing that you have been wanting to wear, because everyone has one. And maybe it's a piece of jewelry, and maybe it is a piece of clothing, and commit that you are going to wear that tomorrow. And then today, spend 5 minutes just finding something that you're going to put it with, but commit to wearing it, and just go, just put it on and go out. Even if you just go for a walk around the block wearing it, to ease yourself into the feeling of wearing something that you wanted to wear, but you haven't actually done so yet because there was something in you that was going, no, this feels too much. It feels too scary. And if wearing something from your closet that feels different is too much, start with a bright lipstick. Start with something. Just start with any one thing that pushes your comfort zone edge. Because what we have to do is we have to build up, we have to push the comfort zone edge outwards, remembering that it's always going to bounce back. So we have to, when we have committed to doing the more, scary thing
Yeah.
once, we need to do it again, and we need to do it again, and we need to do it again, because the comfort zone does not expand if you do it once and then retreat back into hiding. And I think sometimes this is where having someone, like a stylist or a coach or someone there just to keep you accountable for it can be extremely helpful.
In so many ways, it also builds your resilience in some
Yes.
ways, because there are times where you're going to get pushback. Because I've been in relationships where I've
Oh,
had
yeah.
gentlemen sit there and say, maybe you could take it down a notch.
Yeah. No,
Or
sir.
what? Whereas now I'm admittedly with a partner who is just like, let's go. Let's go.
Love it.
Like, it does not matter. We once went to we actually met in a punk rock bar, but,
I love
but
it.
we kid around about how, he was that 80s, 90s, edgy punk guy back in the day. So he's wearing all his dark clothing. And me, I'm like, pink.
No, but what
Because
do
I don't
you?
care. I
Yeah.
love the stuff. I love your aesthetic. But for me, like, that's not me. And could he have been there like, you sure you don't want to wear something? No, and no matter where we go, I could be wearing a big flowered hat and he'll be like, looking good.
Oh my God. And
And
that's
so, but there
so,
has been times
yeah.
where there are other people that might, and I think it's about persevering anyways, because it's you. And in the long run, those other people don't get to live with the consequences of you not living your full, most accepted self. Um,
Beautifully put. Yeah.
you live with that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think the relationship thing is a big one. And I was actually having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I was pondering, like, how many women are not expressing themselves fully through their style, and as a result, what's happening inside is a reflection of what's happening outside, therefore not fully expressing themselves within their relationship. How many women are actually doing that because they are worried about their partner's opinion, or, and I get it, I really do. But like you said, we are the ones ultimately that are going to get to the age of 100, or hopefully, whatever age it is. And if you've been living your life not fully expressed and out of alignment, like, there's going to be some regret there, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, again, I think this conversation is delicious because it is something that, really did change my life when I
Yeah.
decided to own m my personal beauty. It might
Yeah.
not conform to what everybody else is.
No.
Yeah, I've got, wrinkles and neck stuff and all that other stuff, and I love that about me. Thank you. You don't have to. And
Yeah.
it's but in more often than not, the more I embrace what makes me happy, the more people are respond to it. And it
Energy
and
thing again.
yeah. And also in the rest of my life, it almost makes like everything makes sense in a weird
Yeah.
way.
No.
Like the
No.
world may be crazy, but I'm owning myself,
Yeah. No, because there's such an inner peace that cannot be overvalued, undervalued, whichever applies. Um, that inner peace, that alignment brings you inner peace. And when you're not living in alignment, the inner peace just can't be there, you know?
So I asked 3 questions to every one of my guests that come on. So I want to ask you, what was your alignment check moment that compelled you to share your expertise and your experiences and everything? Like, was there like a real, I always say sometimes with life, it could just change on a dime, that very
Yeah.
moment, that very day, and everything changes. Did you have like a moment like that, or was it more of a slow progression?
Well, so I would say that so I have been in the coaching space in various different areas for over 10 years now. And I have moved through being a mindset coach, a nutrition coach, mindset coach, life coach, dating and relationship coach. And then I was like, each of those, I've pivoted them slightly because I was like, okay, I feel like I'm moving closer to, my alignment, my purpose, but I still don't think it's quite right. And then the style started to step back into my life. And I was like, oh, okay, here we are. This is where it's all landing. And it's quite funny that we're having this conversation today because yesterday I had probably the biggest download I have had for what I am going to be creating for helping women on this path, which is this kind of amalgamation of all of my years of coaching and all of the inner work that I've done with people, the EFT tapping, all of this kind of stuff, combined with finding your authentic personal style and then learning the skills of style and bringing them all together to help women show up in their life for what they want to and need to. I mean, yesterday was a bit of a crazy. I was like, ah. So I would say with the alignment, it has taken me several pivots over the years to then finally land kind of 3 or 4 years ago at this space of being like, oh, okay. I see you, universe. I see where we were heading
Right.
all of
And
this
I love
time.
that it's very funny because there's been a handful of times, at least in the past few years, that I feel like, yeah, I got that download.
Yeah.
But in the same breath, at times I wasn't ready
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
came my way, but I at least had the wherewithal to write it down, And
That's
then
it.
yeah, and it's funny that you said that because the other day I had one of those moments, where it just all kind of came to me and I'm like, "Get me a paper." And it is, I always say it, someone once said to me, "Well, when you get that, why don't you record it?" And I said, "No, because when I'm talking, sometimes my brain gets in the way.
Yeah.
When I'm
Me
writing, I feel
too.
like it's
Yeah.
someone's dictating something to me. I'm not letting my own thoughts, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
my
It does.
higher self just like,
Yep.
I'm just dictating. I'm just here to take notes,
Yeah.
you
Stream
know?
of consciousness. Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
exciting that like, that's always such a great feeling when
Yeah.
you
It
feel
really
like it,
is.
it's like, I'm ready. I'm
I'm
ready.
ready. I'm ready.
So, here's my next question. What do you hope that women in your community will gain from you sharing with them? Like, what do you feel is your purpose in all this?
I feel my purpose is to help women not only discover their authentic style, but their authentic selves, and then use the style as that daily empowering ritual to help
Mm,
them show up and do what they want to do and need to do to get them to the place where they want to be in their life. Because so many women that I speak to have all these things they want to do. And when you say, okay, so what action are you taking forward? You
yeah.
can't, like, as powerful as this universe is, and as much as I am into manifestation and all of this type of thing, if you're not taking action, if you're not showing up and doing it, if you're sitting in your living room and you are wanting a relationship, um, I've only ever heard of one story where somebody delivered a pizza to their door and she ended up marrying the person. That is the only, in the history of all of this, it's the only time I've ever heard it happen. You
That's
need to go
funny.
out. You need to go and date. You need to meet people. You need to, so it's that thing of helping women get out of their own way.
So speaking of this segues right into the next question because you're
Oh,
talking
great.
about how like a lot of women use that ritual of getting themselves dressed, putting something together, which again, I have to say, and I'm going to just interject here right now, all the time that I've been thinking about this interview, I kept on thinking about you are like an art teacher in so many
Oh,
ways.
I
Like
love it.
there is, you got to have some not rules, that's wrong, but like have an understanding of how the medium
Yeah,
works, so to speak.
yeah,
But then from there, inserting your own creativity and self-expression. So
yeah.
I've been wanting to tell you, I've
Oh
been wanting
my
to say
God.
that to you.
Oh,
But what do you regularly do to keep yourself in alignment with your purpose or your goals? Like I have daily practices that I do
yeah.
to kind of keep myself in a
Oh,
certain mindset
yes.
and alignment. Do you have anything that you usually
Yeah.
do?
I mean, so I have I have seasons of things.
Mm.
I always journal. So I'm always a journaler in the morning, just clearing out my thoughts, lemon water, coffee, journal. Um, and I'm currently back in a season of doing faster EFT. So I'm clearing out I noticed there were some things coming up for me that were getting in my way of me showing up. So I am always taking responsibility for myself and looking out for where my mind might be trying to, pop in and sabotage me. And I can only do that, I can only recognize that when I am sitting and journaling in the morning because we're also busy in our daily lives. So there is that. And then there is also the ritual of getting dressed, getting ready every single day. I very rarely will not at least I can't remember the last time I spent a day in my pajamas, and no judgment on anyone that does. I just don't function well as a person if I'm still in my nightwear. It doesn't make me feel how I want to feel. So that is part of me keeping myself kind of centered and in check.
I have to admit, like, if I wanna get anything done, I have to wear shoes.
Yeah, no, I get it. Then that's not, yeah, that doesn't,
I
yeah,
know but, like,
no.
I don't mean business until I got my shoes on.
I suppose it's like a grounding. It's like a, yeah, I think, or
Yeah.
there is something, there's this psychological connection to
Yeah, it must be.
shoes on, work, time to get stuff done.
I remember during the pandemic, my old bosses had me doing QVC, and we had to do it through our computer
Oh
from
my
our home.
goodness, I love this.
Oh, it was fun. I actually did some in England too. Um, but it was always remote. It was this way. And heck, I could wear pajama bottoms and a nice top and no one would know. But I knew I had to be fully dressed with the shoes on, the whole 9 yards, because I did not in my head mean business until I got my stuff together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, otherwise I was going to forget the name of the brand that I was working for.
I mean, well, that's it. But I mean, it just goes back to prove it's an anchor point. That's what it
Yeah.
is. It's like an anchor point, and I think we all need those anchor points. And I think getting dressed doesn't necessarily. You don't need to be sitting in your house in a ball gown, but by all means, go forthwith and do it. But put wearing something that makes you feel good is an act of self-love. It's an act of self-care. And so therefore, if you're just in a space where you're like, I can't be bothered, like I'm just not going to do it, which we all, there are days when that is great. But if that is your everyday state, so therefore you're
That's
never
your
pulling it and getting,
factory
then
default.
yeah, exactly. If that's your default settings, it's kind of, well, asking yourself, well, why do I not want to do something that makes me feel good? Because again, scratching the surface, there is something else going on there that means that you don't value yourself enough to make yourself feel good, you
It's
know?
very funny. I didn't really think about the fact that probably my dressing up is part of my ritual that puts
Yeah,
me
of
in a
course.
certain mindset. Because in the mornings, I get up before dawn. I like to if I have to say Florida has some of the best sunrises and sunsets you've
Oh,
ever seen in your
yes.
life.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, I go for a walk and I have my music that I call my empowering, um, you know, playlist where it's like it's always like female centric, probably a little woo-woo.
I love
Has it at a
it.
certain hertz, so because there's certain, I guess, sound waves
Yep.
that like help improve
Yeah.
your attitude. And I like to walk like, I don't know, I'm on a runway or something.
But
But
that's
it puts
amazing.
me I get home and I'm like, woo, okay, let's go do
Yeah.
things. Whereas the days that I skip, at
Yeah.
first it's like, oh, I'm just taking a rest day and everything. But when it starts getting into more than one day, it's like I it's almost like my brain is not in that happy place, and I find out I'm not dressing up
Yeah,
as
there you
much as
go.
I do. I'm like, you know what? I'll just wear the tank top. It's a hot day, a tank top and a pair of sweat shorts. What difference does it make? But like I said, I had my cute little party dress on, and I love this dress. I
That's
got
so
it for $5 at a thrift
cute.
shop.
I love
Um,
that.
you will find me out in the lawn, like raking, because it's lightweight and it's cool,
Yeah.
and I get a breeze, and it's not getting ruined,
No, you're
so
just
I'm gonna
raking. But
clean it.
yeah.
So, but I mean, it just makes me happy, and I'm sure the neighbors think I'm nuts. I don't care.
No,
I'm happy,
exactly.
so it's
Exactly. It's all about the happiness. And even if you want to wear a tank top and a pair of shorts, put on a necklace, put on a little bit of, like, just put on some jewelry, just something that says, I have given myself some thought here and this makes me feel good. Therefore, I am doing it.
I
You
love
know?
it. I love it. I am so grateful for you being here. Where can people find you if they want to come and follow you?
If they want to come and follow me, they can find me on my Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of it. And I am the holistic personal stylist on all of them. And my website is also theholisticpersonalstylist.com. So I've got a blog.
So much for coming on. This was such a delightful conversation.
It really was. I really appreciate you asking me on, and I'm excited to hear the rest of the episodes that you're going to be recording.